Alright. The next one was bum ba bum bum bum. How to be an awesome video game developer. Well, I don't see Kojima in the thumbnail, so obviously it's a parody. Alright, let's size this up. I gotta do it manually because F my life, am I right?
Allow me to present you with a hypothetical scenario, dear viewer. A thought experiment that's totally not based around real events or people. Imagine for a moment that you're a computer programmer working for a successful video game developer.
Okay.
For the purposes of this video, let's call them Disobedient Canine. Disobedient Canine are one of the big movers and shakers in the video game industry, and they're well known for their series of fun, action-oriented adventure games with cinematic presentation, gorgeous environments, and charismatic and interesting characters. You've been lucky enough to land a job to help develop these games, and slowly but surely you've worked your way up the corporate ladder and into increasingly influential positions. Until at last, you're appointed to the role of creative director, giving you the chance to work on a new game all of your own. A game set in a post-apocalyptic future where zombie mushrooms have infected people and taken over the world.
I'd personally work on Metal Gear Solid 3 Remake and save it from the pachinko, but that's just me.
Great stuff, old boy. So you throw yourself into your new project with gusto. But it's at this point in our story that along comes a spider. While you're busy developing your zombie mushroom game,
V for Vendetta, by the way.
you stumble upon some YouTube videos made by a crazy lady that fancies herself as a highbrow video game critic, despite knowing almost nothing about video games and having no creative writing talent, experience, or accomplishments whatsoever. In fact, she doesn't even particularly like video games or the people who play them. But two things that she does like are money and attention, and now she's starting to get both. See, the crazy lady's work focuses almost entirely on gender and racial politics in video games.
Oh no. Resident Evil. Oh no. Oh no. Oh, I see where this is going.
It's literally all she can talk about. Not exactly fascinating stuff for your average gamer, but it does allow her to take advantage of an industry that's still relatively young and...
Wait. What's wrong with Pokemon Silver version? You can play as a female. What's wrong with Warcraft 3? It has some of the strongest female characters in gaming. What? What?
naive and desperate to be seen as mature and progressive. Before you know it, games companies are tripping over themselves to praise the crazy lady's work and signal just how many virtues they have. She's being positively showered with accolades, complimentary news articles, and most importantly of all, money. Lots of money. Meanwhile, you begin to perceive the opportunity that presents itself, and an idea takes hold in your mind. Your zombie mushroom game isn't just going to pay lip service to the crazy lady's ideas, it's going to exemplify them. In fact, you're going to actively consult with her during the game's development. You're going to make grand public declarations about the deep-seated sexism and misogyny that plagues the video game industry.
Wait, but then you put Dina right back in the kitchen in the prologue and set women back 200 years. So, what's up with that?
And how enlightened individuals like you are going to champion her values from now on to combat this scourge.
So, were you, like, pulling the old switcheroo where you pretend to be a cuck, try to get laid, and then, you know, do the switcheroo? Or are you just an idiot?
So you get to work with a passion, and the zombie mushroom game launches to critical acclaim and commercial success. This very success convinces you that the crazy lady was right all along, and emboldens you to go even further. Soon you've churned out an unnecessary prequel that awkwardly forces in gay interracial romance that nobody particularly asked for. But it ticks more of those diversity boxes for the crazy lady, and fan enthusiasm from your game is high enough that nobody minds too much. But it's not just your own game that you want to influence. You also want to force your newfound ideology into other games that are in development. Games like the long-running and highly successful adventure series that basically made Disobedient Canine what they are today. You want the final game in that series to be positively swimming in diversity and impossibly strong female characters, because you know it'll bag you a ton of likes and retweets, as well as further impressing the crazy lady. There's just one small problem. The people that have been developing that game for the past couple of years aren't too keen on you storming in and taking over. As far as they're concerned, they've already done the things that you're now demanding. The only difference is that they've done it in a subtle, smart and intelligent way to avoid alienating their fan base. But that's not how you like to do things. Rather than talk it through and negotiate some kind of creative compromise, you arrange to force them out of Disobedient Canine so that you can swoop in and take over their project. So what if one of them happens to be amongst the most competent and creative writers in the entire industry? So what if you're basically forcing an actual real woman out of her job in video games while claiming to champion fictional women in video games? Those are sacrifices that must be made for the greater good.
Did that actually happen? Oh my. Oh my. Carry on.
So you go ahead and scrap most of her ideas and rewrite the entire game's story yourself to better reflect your new ideology, which results in a series of delayed release dates, forcing a brutal last-minute crunch period that strains the tolerance and resources of your development teams. Even worse, the game you finally produce doesn't release to overwhelming acclaim like last time. It turns out that the inclusion of an overpowered, racially diverse female character whose only purpose is to be an overpowered, racially diverse female character that constantly kicks the arse of the straight white male protagonist is interpreted as patronising and disrespectful. Who would have thought it? Even worse, the crazy lady isn't proving to be as popular as she used to. Gamers are getting wise to her insidious influence over the industry and are actively pushing back against it, while games companies themselves are starting to quietly distance themselves from her. Stung by the criticism of your last game and the waning popularity of the crazy lady's ideas, but determined to remain stunningly brave, you turn your attention back to the zombie mushroom game that gave you so much success.
So let me get this straight. In a bid to push an agenda of empowering minorities and females, you got a successful, talented, hardworking woman who has created blockbuster video games fired to try to empower women? By fucking up her franchise? You just Konami'd... Wow. How are you still alive? Like, how has your house not been burned down during the protests? How have you not been dragged out kicking and screaming? Like, you don't look like the type that can hold his ground against a chihuahua. Like, the amount of hair that you have, you know, like, clearly only a mother could love that. Wow. Carry on.
As far as you're concerned, it's high time for a sequel, and this time, you're going all out to tick as many boxes as possible. This time around, you're determined to focus the entire game around the female protagonist, while relegating the male hero from the first game to a minor side character. Because who wants another straight white male hero, am I right?
Wait, so that's the reason why Ellie, Abby, Dina, Jesse's only in there a little bit, Tommy's only in there a little bit, and you spend time with Mel on Abby's side. You see a little bit of Owen, because he's basically a cuck anyway. Wow. Wow. Dude. Man, I hope you at least got with the crazy lady. I mean, you just fucked half the gaming industry. If you didn't at the very least get laid, I personally feel insulted. Wow. So you just literally threw the entire gaming community on a grenade for you to try to get laid with one chick. Did you at least get laid? Because if you didn't... Wow. Nah, Sony needs to buy this IP and give it to Kojima. He's gonna get some European models, get them to get into their bras and do a photo shoot. Kojima doesn't take shit from anybody. We need Kojima into this.
Make sure that gay relationships are front and center in the new story, and you make sure everyone knows it by releasing a trailer featuring an extremely drawn-out interracial kiss between two women.
Wait, is that... Alright, is that also why... Okay. See, now I'm hyper-analyzing everything. So in the... Because I didn't think anything of it. In the DLC, I was like, oh wow, Ellie's into girls. Like, I didn't give a fuck, right? And I was like, oh wow, she's into girls. I didn't think about it at all. But now when I think about it, first girl's black, because, you know, you wanted to make it interracial. Second girl's Jewish. Both are considered minorities. And victimized in Western society because people are idiots. But... Is that the only reason why? Dude, that's so weak. I didn't even think about that. What the fuck? Wait, is that also why Dina's with an Asian dude? Because typically an Asian guy can't get a white girl instead of a... What? Wait, and Abby's crew. What? So you literally just stuck diversity in there for the sole purpose of sticking diversity in... Bro! What, it's me racist realizing that he's a racist? That's not racist! I only realized it because they fucking brought it up. That's not me fucking being racist, he's fucking racist. I didn't even realize it. I'm realizing it now. What the fuck? Oh god, carry on.
As if that's literally the only thing that defines who these people are. You even managed...
There it is! There it is! That explains why the character of these people is so weak. They put so little effort into actually designing these characters and literally killed them off the second they served their purpose, which was literally to add diversity to the group. That probably explains why Abby had a crew to begin with. Because they needed to tick the one straight male that's a cuck, the... What else did we have? The Spanish dude that's a womanizer? The Asian dude that's Asian. Abby, that's strong woman. And who else was in that? Like, what the fuck? Why could you make him actual characters? Instead of just killing him off. Wow. A gay Latino? He was gay? Huh.
To subvert the whole concept of gender itself by working in a character that's, well, open to interpretation. Needless to say, people are a bit nervous about this. Fans of the first zombie mushroom game worry that you're becoming more focused on ticking diversity
I'm sorry, every time he says fucking zombie mushroom game, I think of Super Mario.
boxes than telling a good story. And even the people at Disobedient Canine are starting to question where this is all going. But none of that matters, you tell yourself. it's all worth it for the greater good. But then it all starts to go a bit wrong. Just as you're getting into the last few months before release, a virus from an unspecified country starts to spread across the world. Everyone's forced to stay at home until it blows over, including all the developers at Disobedient Canine, which means they can't get any work done. And if they can't work, they can't get paid. Naturally, this makes them nervous, because they still have to pay for rent, food, and other necessities.
Crazy idea. Oh, right, because they would have been scared of lakes. I was going to say, why not let them bring their computers home with them? Because, you know, they could keep working from home. Just let them bring the computers home. But the counter thing would have been that, like, oh, intellectual property, what if there's a leak? Because, you know, once the hardware's there physically, you don't need to worry about VPNs and shit like that and stuff. But then it got leaked anyway, so, like, you know.
Stressed out and frightened, some of them ask for their bonus a little early to tide them over, but when Disobedient Canine are like, nah, it'll be fine, one of them takes matters into their own hands and leaks the entire plot of your new diverse zombie mushroom game onto the internet, alongside some very embarrassing information about how things work within the company. Naturally, this is disastrous for you, because not only has it exposed some pretty shady employment practices at Disobedient Canine, including in your own development teams, but it's also shown everyone exactly what you're planning to do in your new game, like cramming it full of political messaging and sacrificing established and beloved characters in the most disrespectful way possible in favour of newer, more diverse replacements. What does this remind us of? Before you know it, your own fans are in uproar, and the news of your upcoming zombie mushroom game is spreading like wildfire. Even when Disobedient Canine totally abuses the YouTube copyright system to strike down channels that dare to talk about it, all it really does is draw more attention to the growing calamity that's engulfing you all.
What do I do when something on the internet is being said that I don't like about me? I know! I am going to DMCA it and take it down. We are going to copyright strike the internet! 'Cause that'll do it. Oh god.
This is the point in our story where you're forced to confront the simple and obvious truth. This disaster was completely and totally of your own making. You sowed the seeds of your own undoing by aligning yourself with the crazy lady, compromising the artistic integrity of your product in a desperate attempt to pander to her and those like her, pushing away and forcing out people far more competent than yourself because they objected to you lacing their work with divisive and heavy-handed political messaging.
So basically, Neil fucked up everything in a bid to get laid with some YouTuber. And tried to take the moral high ground by saying, I'm for social justice. When in fact he's not for social justice, he's just trying to get his dick wet. Wow.
Sacrificing the popular and universal characters on which your very success was built in order to replace them with some ridiculous and completely unidentifiable conglomeration of every diversity checkbox imaginable. Dismissing negative fan feedback and warnings about the detrimental impact of your writing choices as if they're not capable of finding fault with your work. Abusing a system designed to combat legitimate copyright breaches in a desperate attempt to shut down anyone who dares to report on your failures. And lastly, pushing your own development teams to breaking point by overworking and underpaying them, virtually guaranteeing that sooner or later one of them would snap. But hey, I hope she sees this, bro. And if there's one...
Neil, you're a fucking simp. You fucked up your company. You ruined the lives of your employees. You tanked your own career to try to get laid. Please, tell me at the very least you got laid. 'Cause if you didn't, fucking kill yourself.
Good thing to come out of this whole sorry mess. It'll be that your high profile and very public self-destruction just might be enough to finally halt the recent trend of politicization, pandering, and patronization in video games. Because in case you're unwilling or unable to read the market, let me spell it out for you loud and clear. Your customers don't want this. Your customers never wanted this. Your customers will never want this. That's a warning you should ignore at your peril. Still, lucky this is all just a hypothetical scenario, isn't it? I mean, it's not like this ridiculous chain of events could ever possibly happen in the real world, could it? Anyway, that's all I've got for today. Go away now.
I didn't... Wow. I didn't realize this. Like, it's still fresh in my mind. We just finished playing The Last of Us 2 not even an hour ago. And all my thoughts were based entirely on, you know, story, character, plot, gameplay, like the usual shit. And now I'm just like... Wow. Knowing nothing about this, I gave the game like a 5.5, 6 tops. But that explains why the characters had like fuck all backstory. And like the backstories of some of the characters that you read through the letters. Like the family with the 2 kids that joined the WLF. Wait, sorry, I think they joined the Scars. The guy that was trying to get medicine for his wife, and his wife ended up dying on the top floor of that place in Seattle. Like, the backstories of those characters in 2 pages of text was stronger than characters that were part of Abby's crew that we ended up killing, and let's face it, felt absolutely nothing for because there was nothing for us to feel. Because they weren't even 2-dimensional. They were literally like a piece of paper cutout made to look like a cardboard character. Like, they had no personality. They were basically there to die. Neil pushed out a competent woman so an incompetent hack can claim social justice. The sheer hypocrisy. Oh yeah, I can understand why people are pissed. That's the equivalent of how Konami fucked over Kojima. And MGS fans were pissed. Man, if I was a Uncharted fan, I'd be so pissed. Yeah, Neil, fuck buddy, you deserve the criticism. You're not just a douchebag. You're a cunt. Jesus Christ. I'm surprised how he can grab, you know, the towel. You know Al Gore from South Park? Whereas, like, Al Gore, he basically grabs a towel and says, "Social justice! I am fighting for social justice." That is literally what he's doing. He is so brainwashed by his own bullshit that he somehow convinced himself that what he's doing is for the betterment of women. If you want a strong female character, there's dozens of them. And I have no idea why the fuck Pokemon was in that lineup. Because in Pokemon Silver and Gold and then later Crystal, you could play as male or female and the story was identical. So that's the personification of fucking equality. The story's the same no matter which gender you are. And I remember the rival, we didn't even know if it was a boy or a girl for half the time. So that game shouldn't be on there. Warcraft 3 should not be on there. You want strong female characters? Jaina Proudmoore, Sylvanas. Two of the best characters in Warcraft. Both females. So get the fuck out. There's so many other games. So many other... What the... What? This is... Oh, Jesus. Jesus. Fuck. Don't know if you read my comment earlier about Neil saying how he's confused about people getting attached to a video game character. Neil, get the fuck out. If you don't understand how people get attached to a video game character, what the fuck are you doing in a video game company? If I have to defend The Last of Us 2 in story plot, I can. You can defend absolutely anything, but I don't want to. Well, we spoke about the plot, but I don't think I could talk about the plot anymore after realizing this. After seeing this, holy shit. And that is not even mentioning what happened to the devs, because it was made clear that Naughty Dog has nightmarish working conditions. Okay, some crunch can be expected in games, but apparently it is mega bad in Naughty Dog, even more in underpayments. We need The Last of Us Part 2, but all this game is an alternate universe. The Last of Us 2 Look, the only good that we got out of this was that I had the opportunity to play it blind and to judge it without any of this background knowledge. And without any of the background knowledge, it scored 5.5 to 6. With the background knowledge, I am just what the fuck. So we have a completely non-biased ranking for the game. The game itself is a 5.5 to a 6, and only because it's the Last of Us franchise. If this was a standalone game, fuck, I would be pissed, and it'd be maybe a 3.5. If it wasn't characters from The Last of Us Part 1, this game as a standalone would probably be 3.5. And I probably wouldn't have even finished playing it. I probably would have put it down 4 or 5 hours into it. But because I had enough invested in Joel and Ellie, I wanted to see it. I wanted to see it. But if this was a standalone game with no prior game or story or characters before, I would have fucking put it down 2-3 hours into it. Kuma, it's like the game. You must overcome your hate to sympathize with someone you have to reason to like. Wow, my brain's melted right now. This has been a hell of a trip. I did not expect this. Someone broke their disc after finished the game on live stream. Well, I never really had any intention to play it after. There's absolutely no replay value in this game at all. I mean, the game itself is just playing it through for the story. No one's going to play this game for the gameplay. On the gameplay front, it's a failure. It's got bugs. Assets don't load. And the gameplay is okay. It's fun enough to play for a few hours. But after that, you just want to get through the areas as quick as possible. The sneaking's absolutely ridiculous, and no one gives a flying fuck about the upgrades and the bombs and shit. Yeah, I can plant the bombs and lead the guys through and sneak and shit, but that would probably add another 3 hours to the playthrough. Invisible clickers, that too. I wish I could refund it. I wish I could. I probably can't go to the store. I mean, if I fucking go through all the hassle, I could probably, under Australian consumer law, eventually get a refund. But oh yeah, about refunds, Naughty Dog ordered a no refund policy. Well, here's the thing. Naughty Dog can't override the Australian law. they could say something, but the law of the country trumps the law of the company. And Steam effectively got fucked, but the Australian Consumer Commission watchdog, when they said no refunds, they got fined for millions of dollars. So, like, if someone wanted to fight it, they could, and they would win, and Naughty Dog could get fined significantly. But, you know, I got shit to do and work to do and bills to pay and all that sort of stuff. But to be honest, this is just holy shit. This last video was just... I don't know how to process all this, guys. Yeah. And it's not just on your disc. Same happened for Pewds. He lost 2. 1-2. So I guess I woke up a perfect time to hear all about this. Sorry guys, my brain's mush right now. I think there's one more video called The Last of Us 2, A Beautiful Nightmare. So I think this will be our final video, and then my brain is mush right now. Just saying, there are countless reports of people wanting to return the game, but were not allowed because of the policy. So Naughty Dog brags about sales. Well, in Australia, there is consumer law. You could get them for multiple things. Misleading advertisement is one of them, even though they didn't specifically say or specifically state that Joel would be playerful. It could be interpreted that it was misleading, and that was intentionally done to make people believe that he would be in the story and playable, which is not the case. And Naughty Dog knew this, did this knowingly. The main proof being that cutscene with Jesse. So the Australian consumer watchdog would actually side with the consumer, and Naughty Dog would get fucked in Australia. And under that precedent, everyone in Australia, even like 2 years after buying the game, could get a refund. And that, as a result, would trickle down to other countries. But honestly, it would take someone that really wants their $69 back all the way to take them to court. I mean, they would win, but it would be months and months of effort. And that happened with Steam. Someone really wanted a refund, couldn't get it. They pushed it all the way there and they won. And Steam got fined for millions of dollars. And guess what? Steam now refunds games in Australia. Even though it doesn't go with their policy of, oh, you played it more than an hour, we don't refund it. Oh, they fucking refund it. Because they don't want to get fined for millions of dollars again. And the whole thing about Naughty Dog deleting negative reviews, it doesn't help the situation. Because, you know, you might not agree with reviews, but that's the whole point of reviews. And, you know, some people are always going to give it a 10 out of 10. And some people that really hate it are going to give it a 1 out of 10. But the point is, there's going to be a counterbalance, because you're going to have the hardcore people always giving a 10, even though the game doesn't deserve a 10. And then you're going to have people always giving it a 1, even though the game doesn't deserve a 1. And then when you average it out, there's going to be a bell curve. And then what you're going to get is the score being somewhere where it deserves to be. But if you cut out all the extreme negatives and you leave all the extreme positives, what you're going to get is a score that's higher than what it should be. Which isn't right. So the score becomes meaningless.